weather is not so sweet, but good enough. But as you can see in the dressing gown, a little bit of a different atmosphere, as you can see, background and all the rest of it. So bear with me, but it doesn't matter. It's still talking points. Got a couple of special guests in the house for you once we go through the intro. Sound Spurs for Life, Paxton Road TV, PRTv Spurs. Let's go. Still love the music. Welcome to Paxton Road TV. I'm Sound Spurs for Life. This is Talking Points episode number 119. Is this what success is all about? My colleague in the background, who you'll see in a minute, has said to me that I'm very open with my titles. And that's what it's supposed to be, people. So before we get into the show, smash a like, share, subscribe. I'm looking down because I've got things at my feet. But anyway, bringing in the guests. Here we go. We have Sean Hurl, Paxton Road TV's very own, and introducing Harry Scarf 22, Scarfy Spurs Talk. I like that title. Welcome to the stream, gentlemen. How you doing?
After you, Sean.
Don't all rush at once now. Don't all rush at once. Come on.
We're just waiting. We're just creating that pregnant pause before a new podcast is brought into life. Yeah, no, I'm doing fine. It's a bit of a strange weekend with no Spurs game other than, you know, the under 21s and the under 18s in cup competition. Yeah, it's very strange, but yeah, I'm looking forward to a relatively stress-free weekend. Yeah, let's have a chat about Spurs in general.
That's it. Harry, welcome to debut on Paxton Road TV, PRTv Spurs, Talking Points. Is that it? Am I right?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely is my debut. So thank you very much for having me. It's great to be here. So looking forward to getting into it. As Sean says, stress-free weekend. It feels strange, but part of me goes, I can't wait to be back on that pitch playing Crystal Palace to put it right from that Wolves defeat. So that's what I like about this team. But yeah, looking forward to getting into it.
Superb. Well, I'm trying not to do a Magic Mike impression. I have got my dressing gown on, but just do not tidy, because like I said, it's not that type of show, people. It's not that type of show.
Harry, last time I saw him, he was in Jamaica, you know, up the side, taunting at a beach. So, you know, he's like that. You just have to go with the flow.
You're right. I am like that. I don't care. I am like that, people. I'm like that. Anyway, so Harry, very, very warm welcome to you. I believe that Pav may be joining us soon. Apologies from Sid. Apologies from Darius. Couldn't make it, but the best people in the house. So again, title of the show, as we have talked about, very open. Is this what success is all about? Now, what I wanted to try and get into as a topic of conversation is after the Wolves game, terrible result. They've done a double over us this season. Gary O'Neill did the same thing when he was at Bournemouth. You know, he got a number over us. And the thing that came out from that interview, from his post-match interview, just a couple of comments, is basically he's worked out. I say worked out. He managed to find ways to get results out of Spurs based on the way that we play, etc., etc. So we had a bit of a debate in our WhatsApp group talking about what is it that actually Spurs fans want. Do we want success? We were looking to get that success through the likes of Jose Mourinho, Antonio Conte, even the bearded one. What's his name at Forest? I don't even know his name anymore. But Ipham Forest. And we've had different styles of football, bringing us different, not bringing us any different terms in terms of silverware, but different aspects of how we want to see our team play. Now, I've always maintained I'm a silverware person. Had Jose won that silverware in 2020, whenever it was that he was in the cup final and got sacked a couple of days before, whatever it was, I would have taken that cup final win. Had we obviously won the Champions League, we'd be celebrating even now. To this day, we'd be still celebrating that win. But we haven't. We're in a situation where we've got a manager who we think is there for the long term, and I think he's the right manager. I definitely do think he's the right manager. But the old thing's raised its head again. What are we happy with? What are we happy with as Spurs fans? Everybody's got their opinions. Is it about seeing great football, good football, back to the old Osvaldo Ardiles days? Or are we looking to cement a bit of more of a legacy, create something at Spurs? What would that be? What does that look like? I have no idea at the moment, but it all starts, in my opinion, with winning that first trophy. I'll come to the guest firstly. And it's no right or wrong answers, and I'm not looking to put anybody on the spot. And your comments in the comment section are very, very worthwhile and valuable, because everybody's got, as I said, their own opinions. Aaron, what's your thoughts? Are you well, it's great football, good football sort of thing, or are you looking for Spurs to be successful? Ultimately, I'm wanting both, but sometimes there might be a thing. Are we going to accept that Gary O'Neill's right? He knows how to play Spurs. Will Ange have to do something else? Loads of questions in there, but just answer it how you.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Firstly, I think Gary Neal's spot on in terms of I listened to when he first went on Monday Night Football after they'd beaten us first at the Molineux, and I was a bit concerned for the reverse fixture, because he spoke like a guy who understood. He worked out the way we've got to play. So of course we've got to play differently. And when we play low block teams, for me, simple things: move the ball quicker, got to cross more, got to look for more movement. Because I honestly think we could still be playing now, and we wouldn't have scored again. And that for me is a bit of a worry. Of course, I love the way that we're playing, but ultimately we want it all to reach success. There's no good playing pretty football if you aren't getting the results. And that's what you will say against Wolves, 71% of the ball, but we lose the game. Like we have 3 less on target. That does worry me, because for me, we're just not creating enough. We're not just creating enough chances. However, we are having that possession, so it does worry me slightly. But overall, I think if we can secure Champions League football in and around that this season, it will be a fantastic achievement for a first season in Ange. But eventually, the end goal is obviously success. It's great to be able to enjoy watching Tottenham again, but ultimately, it's no good if you aren't getting the results. So, yeah, as you say, success definitely comes first, and hopefully, this will lead to it.
I'm sorry for smiling in the background. You can see why I'm smiling. I put this, Donna, welcome, Donna. You know what I mean? You're on the inside, so you know. I like the way you started, and now I'm kind of cool. Is this the real Donna? Because she started with Wagwan Sam. I'm not quite sure it's the real Donna Cullen, but I'm going to go with it. Donna, you're going to listen to the show. Welcome anyway. Mr. Sam, from here onwards, I'll be regularly in the chat. That's fine. We've not got no problems with that. Just don't tell Mr. Levy about some of the things that we might be saying. David Clark is in the house as well. Donna, where have you been? Not seeing you stalking me lately. Laugh out loud. And that's a laugh out loud moment. Sean, you're next up. Your overall form, as we're trying to do with this, and it's not going. It's very unserious, but I like it. Sean, talk to me.
That has kind of thrown me. The hatchet woman of the boardroom is in our allegedly. I have no proof of that. But yeah, no, it's funny because I think because I'm a little bit older, style of play is very important. But then, of course, style of play has in the past brought us thrilling victories. And I don't necessarily see playing good football and winning silverware as being mutually exclusive. I felt, particularly under Mourinho, but definitely under Conte, that we were getting nowhere near silverware. And I think I would say since Pochettino left, we've regressed quite considerably. So this season, like Harry, I'm enjoying watching us. I'm very disappointed about our domestic cup trophies, which I had kind of a hankering for, definitely this season. But I can only hope that we take the positives from this season, and I think in many ways we were kind of spoiled by the fact that we were top of the table for so long early on in the season. And I think we have to remember that basically when Mr. Conte departed the building, he actually set a dynamite trap and basically blew the building apart. So it's a rebuilding from the foundations upwards. And I think yes, we are in the foothills, as I keep saying, of a reconstruction. I'm enjoying what we played. I can't, I can't deny I've had some very disappointing days. Certainly that evening that we sat in the West Stand watching us implode against Chelsea last year didn't help, and watching the two Wolves games hasn't really helped the mood either. But until we'd lost, I think that was the first defeat in quite a while, particularly at home, which was generally we're slightly ahead on this time last season. And I suppose it's funny, just before I came on, I answered a tweet. I can't remember who it was from, but they said, would being in the Europa League or the Conference League not be acceptable? And I said, well, considering that we finished 8th last year and we were a basket case, I would say yes, that's progress. So I would accept that, given that the football has generally been more pleasing on the eye this year.
Yeah, and all those things is true. Well, I think I'm trying to not boil down to, because I'm going to give my opinion on things as well. I'm a silverware person. Maybe that's a bit old school. Top 4 to me, again, if we get top 4 this season, if we don't get top 4, it's neither here nor there, because if I think about it, we're not necessarily in the right position at this moment in time to win the Champions League. The other thing I'm going to go back to is the manager. The manager is the right manager for this position. We've gone through a case of, since Poch departed 2019, whenever it was, I don't think we've had really much of an identity as a club in terms of a philosophy of playing, in terms of what you expect us to do in the transfer market. It's just hit or miss. The reason being, Daniel Levy, Enoch didn't have the right people in place. Now, anybody that says that we haven't gone positively in that direction would be stupid to say that. But we're still getting this Enoch in, Enoch out sort of thing when things like this happen. Obviously, the results that we've had recently suggest that, we're up and down, which we are. But the bigger thing for me is that Andrew's come into this league from from Scotland, from Japan, from Australia. In all those leagues, yes, they're going to have their own challenges. But the Premier League, and this is not just me saying that, is the toughest league in the world. It is going to test any manager of any level of ability. You have to work things out, and you have to work things out pretty quickly. You do need to have things in place, the right players, the right structure, all the rest of it. We've seen, like Manchester United, where they are. I think all those things are certainly progressing in our favour. But it's a kind of like some of the comments that I'm getting from Ange and then other managers. Once you've been worked out in the Premier League, you have to think again. Every single year, Pep tries to tweak something in how he plays. Klopp, not so much. Klopp just wants to get in a way of playing and get the players in to suit that. But I think you need a bit of balance of both. I think the right way of playing is the way we're playing now. But can that be worked out? Can that be found out? Obviously, we've seen from the results. What do we need to make sure that is a bit more foolproof? Quality. Do you think we've got enough quality, Sean?
Probably not at the moment currently, but then you have to remember the average age of our team is probably like 3rd or 4th youngest in the league. A lot of players this season hadn't played for prolonged periods in the Premier League. Yet we've managed to hold our own against the teams around us. Our issue seems to be that, and this was an issue under Poch even, that when teams adopt a particular method, we do struggle. And the low block is something that we have an issue with. I think there are mitigating factors against Wolves, but there are other teams that have come and done that same job to us this season. But yeah, I'm just hoping that we can, we can rebuild. We're rebuilding the squad, and there is a certain amount of. Do we chase quality with a price tag, which we haven't exactly done very well with in recent years, or do we go for players who are hungry and are looking to want to play for us and want to play in this league?
Excuse me. Sorry, Sean. I'm sorry for coughing. What's your thoughts on on that, Harry, in terms of what Sean said, obviously based on what I've asked?
Yeah, it's interesting. I think that for me, we do have the quality to be able to get Champions League football alone. Obviously, I think we have the right manager, etc. But I think if we be realistic and go the 2 windows that Ange Postecoglou has, the players for me that have been signed and the players that have gone out the club, I think it's been 2 very, very successful windows. Like a lot of people turn around to me and go, "Yeah, we haven't got back up in left back, right back areas." But I go, let's be realistic in terms of the players that we've signed and the recruitment in the last 2 windows. For me, has been close to exceptional, and that's credit obviously to Levy and the board. I think obviously the summer, like any window, is important to enhance that kind of depth, hopefully with Europe, ideally Champions League football next season. So obviously we've seen like the injuries we've gone through and that period where we really struggled, where we played your West Hams, your Villas, your Chelseas, your Wolves. That's a really sticky patch for Tottenham. We don't want to go through that again next season on top of playing in Europe, because that would be very difficult. We could find ourselves outside of Europe and outside the top of the 4 with a blink of an eye. So we want to avoid that. But at this moment in time, I think we have a very strong starting 11. In the summer, it's about applying depth. But I look at the bench against Wolves and it's nice to see. For me, there's options to turn to, and we haven't had that for a while. So that is good to see.
Yeah, the options are great. The options are great based on the fact that, we've got as many players to choose from as we did at the beginning of the season. And we know what we went through, obviously, between that point after the Chelsea game and then the AFCON and Asia Cup. But the quality thing, I look at what Arsenal did Wednesday. They've been flying the last 4 or 5 games. They go to Porto. Even their fans are thinking, yeah, we're going to turn this lot over. It don't happen. And the reason it didn't happen is because Porto, seasoned professional team in the Champions League, good players, smart players that have been round the block, like Pepe have done it before. You don't just go to there and think you're going to take away 3 points or take away a victory, should I say, to get to the next round, or at least take it to your home ground. It don't work like that. Football has never worked like that. You need to have a plan. You need to know what you're doing. You need to know what your opposition is doing. You need to know what competition you're in. European competition is very different. This is my fear for if we was to be in the Champions League and to do exactly what we're doing next year. It suggests to me from the record that Ange has got, he's played really good in the Champions League, but hasn't been successful. And success comes in different forms. What would success look like to us now in the Champions League? I think it's progressing as far as possible. What does success look like for someone like Pep Guardiola? It's winning the whole thing. So there's different aspects of what success can kind of look like. For me, if we get into the Champions League next season, we need to add more quality, but we need to have different ways of playing. We just cannot. I don't care who you think you are. I don't care whether you've done this in the past. It's been successful. You cannot play the same way in the Champions League as you do in the league. Arsenal think they could. Arteta thinks that he could. He's now going to work out that he can't. I've been laughing and having a joke about them and saying that they're the new Stoke City, because they've realised that there's aspects of football that are very important. Set pieces, blah blah blah. You need to do everything, and it always changes. So even if you get it right this time, something will change next season. Something will change during the season, and we have to be able to accommodate that. Do you see? And I'll ask you this first, Ari. How do you see Ange taking what's happening now in terms of not so much criticism, because this is the big boys league now. He's getting a lot more airplay. Yeah. I think the media are quite at this moment in time in love with him. Similar to how Klopp was in his very early days. He can't really say too much wrong, but you can see some questions are beginning to maybe grate him a little bit, and his responses are very direct and blunt because of that. Do you think that he's now under pressure possibly to change his style of play, or do you think he should just maintain what he's doing?
Good question. I think he's obviously going to be under some pressure, right? For me, at this moment in time, it seems not too difficult to play us. It seems like you can put 11 men behind the ball and, kind of have a couple of quick players on the counter-attack, and you get lots of set pieces and you beat Tottenham. And that is what Aston Villa have done. That's what West Ham have done. That's what Wolves have done. And that is the frustrating thing. So I don't think in terms of like formation or anything, there's any pressure to change it. But in terms of changing tactics for certain games, absolutely. And this, for me, was Conte's downfall at Tottenham. We've seen it so many different managers in not only the Premier League. Yes, for Ange, because obviously in Celtic, he had the money, he had the players to be able to go, look, proper. So you can try put 11 men behind the ball, but eventually we'll break you through.
You're breaking up a little bit, Harry, unless that's on my side. Oh, Sean, you're on mute, by the way. Harry should be coming back. Hopefully, it's just a little bit of a temporary blip. But no, take over from there, Sean. I'm very interested. Oh, sorry, you're back. Sorry, you had a little bit of internet issues there. You froze and we didn't quite hear.
Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, I was just kind of saying that I don't think there'll be any pressure to change the formation, but ultimately the tactics there will be a little bit. As I said, Celtic, you could get away with that. So obviously the Premier League, there is that little bit of pressure, to be honest with you. You look at Palace, and if you're Crystal Palace, you sit 9-10 men behind the ball and you attack quickly with Eze and Elise if they're both available. You get lots of set pieces, free kicks, corners, then you cause Tottenham problems. So it's a bit worrying at this moment in time. I still think Andrew's the right man for the job. I don't think he's stupid. I think he'll change some things. But ultimately, I look at Wolves and go, when you haven't got your best fullbacks available in Pedro Porro and Udogie, and it's a lot to ask Emerson and Davis to invert. And there's no real benefit of inverting against low block teams. He just compacts and floods the midfield. It's very handy when you have a team coming out and playing. I think it'd be handy later on in the season. We go to Anfield. I think the fullbacks will be absolutely crucial, but not in a game like Wolves. So for me, it's about that flexibility. So we'll be tested. But what worries me is he says, like after that Chelsea defeat, if we had 3 players, we'd play the same way. I like that we kind of stick to morals and we stick to principles. But at the end of the day, football's a results-based business, and that's what could cost Postecoglou. And I hope I'm wrong.
Yeah, I'm going to come to you, Sean. What's your thoughts on that? Because, like I said, there's no right or wrong elements in it. It's just what we see and what we feel as opinions. But how do you see this long term in terms of the way the approach is at the moment?
It's very difficult to see long term if you scale out a bit, if you sort of like move out a bit, because it is a man who's a coach who's only been in place since July. We're only 2/3 of the way through the season. We're slightly ahead on what we achieved last year when all was chaos. But as Harry's indicated, sometimes when crucial personnel are not available, it does make it difficult. And if you think about you think about low blocks. When Andrew's up here at Celtic, he came up against low blocks week in and week out. And what he was able to do was through superior fitness and an understanding was to win those games deep into injury time late in the game. And we've had a few examples of that this year, Sheffield United in particular. But the players are learning, they're learning the players are learning his system. He's learning to apply his system in a new league where obviously players are of a superior quality. My real concern is should we were to take a serious beating in, say, the North London derby or against City in these upcoming, that really crucial April, that the fans will turn against him, and I think that would be a shame, because I think there are shades of an historical Tottenham Hotspur. If you go back, I'm not quite as old as this, but from the early 50s, the push and run team, we were innovators in terms of tactics. And then obviously when Nicholson came along, and then when I started going to see them in 1968, my God, I've been watching this team for far too long. There are seedlings, if you like, of something, and the last thing I want is for someone to throw some weed killer on top of it and crush it like that. I think I don't think there'll be a panic, but I do feel that our managers need to our fans need to be a little bit patient. Like for example, when I was answering this, that tweet before I came on here, if we were to finish in the Europa League or the Conference League, it's not to be considered an absolute disaster. It'll be disappointing. There's no doubt about it. It'll be disappointing when you've been in touch with the top 4 for 2/3 of the season. But, you know, it's the telltale signs now. Teams around us are going to be playing extra games in Europe. Well, maybe Arsenal got only one more, but, you know, that's fingers crossed. But yeah, let's see as we go deep into the season. You know, let's see what we can produce. You know, just get behind the team, get behind the project.
Yeah, so many. Sorry to interrupt. No. I didn't know if you'd finished. But right, okay. So lots of thoughts flooding through my mind based on what both of you have said. So I'm just going to try and be a bit coherent in terms of what I respond and how I think my thoughts are going. In respect of ripping up, changing plans, no, that's not what I'm looking for. We've got a philosophy. Andrew's got a philosophy. You can make tactical tweaks game to game. You can make tactical tweaks depending on who you're playing, depending on what competition you're playing, depending on what time. There's so many aspects of it that you can change. I agree with what you were saying, Harry, about the low block thing and playing your inferior fullbacks. That was never going to work, in my opinion, for exactly those same reasons. The other thing I'm going to also touch on is the respect about what you said, Sean, about when he was in Scotland and he was facing low block teams. This is what I mentioned about the quality issue. No disrespect to Scotland, no disrespect to Australia or Japan. None of those leagues have the quality that the Premier League have. If you put Crystal Palace against a virtual similar team in Scotland, Crystal Palace should come out on top. Same thing for Australia, same thing for Japan. All things being equal. The problem that you've got then is if you have improved quality and you have a low block team that knows what they're doing, the likes of Crystal Palace, the likes of Bournemouth, the likes of possibly Wolves that we've seen, you can get results based on a style of play. You have to be a bit lucky, obviously, playing away from home. But the fact is, if you know your fullbacks are going to be in field and you play a certain system, I would always play a 4-4-2 against Ange Postecoglou. Make sure my two centre forwards are up against their centre backs. Then when we win the ball back, my centre forwards go out wide. Reason being, the centre backs then have to make a decision. Do they go with them? Do they allow the other fullbacks to then try and get back? If they're out of position, are they going to get back in time? So you've got a decision to make. Then I'd flood the midfield. I'd get players running through midfield, and then you can play the ball 1, 2, 3 ways. That will disrupt everything in the back. And that's what I saw in the Wolves game. That's what I've seen in many other games. So it's the quality issue that's the problem. You can't always beat a team 3-2. You can't always beat a team 4-3. Sometimes you need to beat a team 1-0. I'm not quite sure that we've got that 1-0 mentality in us because we've never been that 1-0 mentality team. That whole thing has to change. You know, unless it's not about Ange saying that we need to be a 1-0 team, but the mindset of the team needs to be slightly different depending on what aspects of the game we're in. You can't play a low block team and expect to win it by doing what we did on Saturday. It just won't work because they're too clever. The players in that were too... Oh, we've got somebody else coming in. I'll add this person in because it's always lovely to see the lovely Pav.
It's taken me
Pav.
so long to get on. The Wi-Fi connection is just really pissing me off.
You've got butterflies in the background. What are you moaning for? I can see butterflies in the background here.
How are you guys? You guys okay?
We're good.
You're good, thank you. Yourself?
Yeah, I'm alright. I'm good.
Listen, we've been dated, so people want to date us. They're all like, Donna, have you seen what Donna's been putting? Look what she's been putting. Oh my goodness.
God, you got
That's what I
admirers
said.
and it's not me today.
I said, oh my goodness. I was like taken aback. Anyway, that was part of this. But no, I'm going to just go back to what Danny Lee's saying. Exactly. A philosophy doesn't need to change for him to show a better game management. This is the point. But every time I say that to a Spurs fan, they say you wanted attacking football, you will not change to a plan B. And that's wrong. I can only go my personal. You don't need to have a different philosophy. I do think you need to have slight tweaks on your plans in order to adapt to situations that are put in front of you, but you don't need to rip it up and almost be an Antonio Conte. No, I'm playing 3-4-3 regardless. I'm doing this regardless. I'm doing this. It's the players. It's this. You can't blame everything. Andrew's taken all that responsibility on board himself. And because he's done that and he's not outsourcing it to anybody else, he then has to take what we give him back in terms of this style of stuff. If he says that I'm happy with the players that I've got, I have to believe him. If he says that I'm the one who's now in charge at the end of when the transfers come in, I have to believe him. If he says I'm playing like this and I'm going to do this regardless, even against the 9 men we had against Chelsea. As much as I don't like it, I have to go with it. What I'm asking for is, give me some evidence that this is going to work over a longer period of time. And if it's just about quality, right, I'm then ready to go the next 2-3 transfer windows in order to get to that quality. My last point on this is, though, I don't think you have that much time anymore. There's no 5-year plan for anybody in the Premier League. It doesn't happen. The only people that get that length of time is the ones that get the success in order to give themselves more time. Pep Guardiola, Klopp. Mikel Arteta's on very shaky ground. If they don't win anything this season, he can't really go back to the board and say, yo, give me some more money here. What are you doing? You're not supporting me. 400 million suggests that he's been supported. I'm just looking for more. Okay, these are the situations now. It's slightly different than when I was before. How can I adapt my style to get more results? Because you touched on it, Harry. It's a results business. It is. Nobody can say anything different. Open-ended. It's just when we're out talking. I know that it's kind of like, you know, the next game is now against what? Crystal Palace?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
New manager bounce. What are you expecting from that?
Well, I mean, new manager bounce or not, they haven't got the squad. They haven't got the team. I mean, and at the minute, if they don't have Elise or Eze, which, you know, they don't appear to have at the moment, they're a shadow of the team. I mean, we beat them, I thought, quite comfortably, more comfortably than the scoreline suggests at their place. I mean, how that Palace goal was allowed to stand when IU was playing basketball prior to putting it in the net, you know. I do feel that I would expect us to take the points in that game, much as I expected us to take the points against Wolves. But it's I'm not. It really annoyed me, I must admit, to see Anne Jow appearing on the social media lines this week.
Ridiculous.
I mean, it was like, hold on a second. But I do feel there are people who've been sitting on their hands this year and waiting for a sticky patch to come. And the thing is, he's been very honest in the media. He said that there will be times when we have a sticky patch until I get my team. And at the minute, not only is he constructing a new squad, he's also having to chip away at the mishmash of a squad that we built for 3 or 4 different managers, players who are totally unsuitable. You know, and by and large, he's got them out of the club either on a temporary basis or on a full-time basis. We needed a new goalkeeper. Hugo, you know, God bless him, was done. You know, we needed to get rid of, you know, players that had played for us under Potts back in 2014. You know, thank you, Eric Dyer, but it's time for you to move on. Players like this, it's, you know, and he's done a very good job, but it's very difficult to do when you have a behemoth called Manchester City. Mm-hmm. You have teams that are much further along the road, that mob at the other end of the Seven Sisters Road. You know, and then you've got Liverpool, who, you know, give him his due, Klopp has rebuilt them. But, you know, look at the toll it's taken on him personally that he's having to step down at the end of the season. Mm-hmm. So, you know, it's I would say you say we don't have 5-year projects. I certainly hope we don't have 9-month projects.
Yeah, 100% agree with that.
I mean, that would be a disaster.
Yeah,
if we were to abandon the project as it stands at the moment. And you know, sometimes fans need to be aware of, you know, be wary what they wish for, because the turmoil that would go if he was to be put out on his ear would be unbelievable. And he wouldn't, as some people want, bring a new regime at the top of the club either. No. In fact, it would probably make the regime even more determined to dig in. So you need to have a bit of foresight practices, because I've got the years, I've put the time in. I've done the time of following this football club for so long, I tend to see things much more in a longer thing. I get annoyed, you've seen it on here. I get annoyed when we, lose games like last Saturday. But, sometimes you just need to sort of step back and say, are we making progress? Yes. There are, are there things to be done? Yes. But I'd rather be where we are now than where we were this time a year ago.
True. And I'm going to come to you next, Pav, because I want to get your thoughts on what and how you see success, what makes success for you. But just based on the points of what Sean has said about improvements, how do you, and again, it's not a trick question, how do you see improvements? Do you see it from a perspective of how we're playing, how the club is from a structural point of view, what we've got in place, or do you see it strictly from a results perspective? I know that's not going to be the case, but the reason I'm saying that is because last year, if you think about it, we probably were better off at this stage of the season in terms of where we were cup-wise, possibly league-wise, than we are this season. But in a contrast to that, we are certainly playing much better football in terms of what we see on the eye. But I don't think there's too much dissimilar in terms of points from what Conte had at this stage last season. If I'm right, I might be wrong, and I don't think it's too dissimilar in what we've done in the competitions to this point from last year. I might be right, wrong. Sorry, people have to let me know. And again, if we look at what this time last season, it was kind of like beginning of March. I remember, I think we were all like, bloody hell, can we watch another game of this? I remember going to the stadium and thinking, 9, 10 men behind the ball here. Off the break, we're gonna. We won. We won. That Man City runs out. Then the style of football was not engaging to me, but we weren't too dissimilar to where we are positionally wise now. So that's why success might look differently to different people. A lot of people now are looking and saying, "Oh, we're great, we're fantastic, that's really good." But results business is how he said. What are we closer to getting those results than we were last season? Style of football, yes. I'm not convinced that the mentality is still there. The reason I'm saying that is because we've gone out of them cups, and we shouldn't have gone out of some of them cups at this stage. We shouldn't have. We shouldn't be out of them cups. Pav, what does success look like for you?
I think it works. I mean, personally, all the way around. Like, yes, we obviously need like the results aspect, but I think it works from top to bottom, like through obviously the board, the management, the results, the style of play. Because how are we supposed to progress if certain rubbish decisions are made, or there's changes in the football style, or we're not switching things up? Because I was saying, I can't remember who I was saying it to. I was saying it to someone just about like the way that we're playing. Yes, we are playing good football, but is it good enough? Are we seeing the results? We're seeing some results. We're not seeing enough results. But what do we need to change? Because we're not changing it. It seems like we're just keeping things exactly the same. But in order for us to progress, in order for us to move forward, we need to change things up a bit. There's certain things that we're still seeing that are wrong with us, which is like through to decisions or how we're playing on the pitch. There are certain things that the players are doing, and it's also to do with like coaching. Like, hats off to Ange, because I love the guy so much, right? And I think he's doing a fantastic job. But it's also the people around him as well, because obviously you've got your other coaches as well that are working with the players. Are they doing good enough in training? Like, we're seeing all these things, like they look like they're doing amazing in training, but is it enough? It's all about, is it enough? Are we doing the right things? What can we do to change it? Because I don't think it is. Yes, we are on the right track, and going back to last season where we were to now, we have massively changed, but it's not enough to see that success. Now, for this season, success, what I will see is us getting top 4, because realistically, nothing else is going to happen, right? So it's top 4. That would be a success for this season. But next season, what's our next?
Can I ask a question? Can I ask you a quick question? Would you have said that before we'd gone out of all the cups? Would you have said top? Because a lot of people have said this, and this is not getting at you. A lot of people have said before we'd even kicked a ball, top 4, that's it. Not even looking at winning the Carabao Cup, not winning the FA Cup, not doing well in Europe. I know we weren't in Europe, but you know what I'm saying. So what is it?
I would have said we could have won a trophy. We could have got Carabao Cup or the FA Cup. But since we're out of them, that's why I'm saying top 4. But then again, some people are saying because he's only come in this season, maybe should just, get the top 4 or whatever. So that sort of thing.
Harry, I'll come to you. And again, I'm going to ask a question again. It's kind of like a difficult one to answer because we don't have foresight. But if we forward to the end of next season, let's say the end of May, when all 38 games have been played and all the cup competitions have been played, where do you see Spurs ending up and what with? And this is just
this May or next May?
Next year. Based on the fact we're going to have another 2 transfer windows between now and then, and we'll get more players in, maybe get rid of more players that he doesn't want. What do you see come the end of May as to what Spurs will achieve next season?
If I'm honest, I think we'll be a very healthy position under Postecoglou. I think that we probably have recently one domestic trophy in our hands, probably the FA Cup or Carabao Cup. If I'm honest, I think we do okay and probably get out of the group in the Champions League. I think we'll get top 4 again.
Oh, that's how Harry's feeling. Champions League already. That's how he's feeling.
Absolutely.
Like that.
So I'm feeling quite confident at this moment in time. I think obviously there's no doubt about it. I've been quite critical myself. We're going for a stage where I think we've been found out to an extent, but I think Ange will tweak a few things. I think ultimately players like Bentancur, Basuma have not long come back. Madison, another one, I think will improve game by game. Kulusevski, Johnson, I think all these players will improve as the season goes on, including next season. And I think the summer, I think we're bringing key players in like we have done in the last 2 windows for Ange. And I think we're being in a really healthy position in May 2025. So hopefully that's the case. And I think we will have a trophy. Fingers crossed.
Sean?
Yeah, I'm liking that positivity. I mean, I was actually trying to look at trying to search for the Premier League table from this equivalent last week. I gave up when I noticed a year ago next week, Liverpool beat Manchester United 7-0. So it just goes to show how things can change quite quickly, doesn't it? I'm of the opinion that we will be more competitive next season because the players will know the system better, and will know the league better. And his team of coaches will know what things need to be improved. And I'm hoping that there'll be recruitment of players that can play the system that Ange wants to do. But I must admit, I'm not confident about getting into the top 4, and it's looking increasingly like it needs to be the top 4 in order to be in the Champions League next year. Because I think Italy and Germany are in the box seat for the extra club.
Okay. For me, if I forward to next year, I agree with a lot of the points you said. We will improve from a playing perspective. Now, how you look at improvement, we're going to have better quality players in. We've already taken steps towards that. The Lucas Bergville deal, 17-year-old will be 18 by the time he gets to play at Spurs. There's the other guy, the defender that we've got, another 18-year-old in the midst, potentially he's coming the year afterwards. All the talk about Gallagher in the summertime, blah, blah, all the rest of that stuff. So I think we'll be in a better place personnel-wise. Obviously, experience-wise, it'd be a year down the line. But I'm only doing the comparisons because we are in that similar, building process that Arsenal had when Arteta started with them. He won something in that first season, regardless of how he did it, regardless of who did it. He won a couple of bits and pieces here and there.
True.
That took the pressure off him because I don't believe had he not won that FA Cup or whatever else he'd won in that period of time, that the crowd would be with him as much as they are now, even given what they did last season. And I'm only going to just finish it off by saying the reason I say that is because, as with all football fans, it doesn't take a lot of results for it to go really pear-shaped. Look what we were saying, or certain fans were saying after our period of You know, 5 games, scoring first, not winning the game. You know, all those records that get thrown us at. And I'm looking at Arsenal having the same sort of thing. When they went through a period of 3 games where they were losing and didn't get a result, it was like the end of the world. It was like, oh my God, that's it now. Man City going to roll off and run. It changed very quickly. But the reason it changed, the manager had to change something. Regardless of whether you think that the case or not, just look at the games. There was a change in something. Now, whether that would be the set piece advantage that they now have got when they went away to Dubai and did their training. All I'm looking for is changes, not necessarily from personnel, because I can't just say it's about quality. When teams like Crystal Palace or Wolves or Bournemouth or whoever it is come to our place and get a result, I'm not having quality as being the issue, as being the difference. I'm not, because they ain't got better players than us. So it can't be. It has to be something else. Is it mentality? Is it coaching? Is it a bit of luck? Because that can happen. Or is there something fundamentally in there that doesn't allow us to be able to play against certain teams in certain ways? That's what Andrew's got to work out for me between now and the end of next season. If that is the case and we do that through the summer, we will win a Carabao Cup. We will win an FA Cup. Whether we win the league, different matter. Whether we win the Champions League, as Harry's saying, or being in the Champions League to win the Champions League, I'm not quite so sure. But we did it in 2019 with a far inferior team, in my opinion, than what we've got now, if I'm looking forward.
Yeah.
So what does that tell me? That tells me that we do need to have some fundamentals in terms of a possible plan A, plan B, plan C, tweak it, do this. Champions League's slightly different. Europa League's going to be slightly different. FA Cup, what do we do? Do we go through it? How do you play? Away from, you know what I mean? There's so many things in there. But I'm not quite on board with this. I don't quite agree with it. I don't agree with it because that can't be the case. You have to give the manager now time. He said the things that we've wanted to hear. Yeah, I'm in charge of the end transfer deals. I'm now the one who's making all these decisions, not Daniel Levy, not Enoch. We can't then go back to Enoch and say, oh, well, it's you that we haven't got quality for. Well, Andrew said we're going to need 2 or 3 or 4 windows to get the quality right.
Yeah.
We judge him when the quality's right. And if he tells me beginning of next season, I've got everything in place to have a good season, I'm working with that. And what we get at the end of May will determine how I think about what the team's achieved in that period of time. Simple for me. Just read a couple more comments out here. COVID period kept Arteta in a job, then 2 back-to-back 8th-place finishes. A lot of that happened when the stadium was empty. I reckon they would have put a lot more pressure on Arteta.
Yeah.
100%. Any more thoughts on those things, guys? Well, just open conversation. Like I said, Pav, how do you feel about, you know, the comparisons with Arsenal? Because I hate comparing us to Arsenal, but we have to. They are direct rivals, and they are probably in the same sort of stages. We're in the same stages when they got Arteta on board with them. How do you feel?
do I.
Our plan. How's our plan against their plan?
I hate it. I hate the comparison
I
whatsoever. Like, look at the stage that they're at. Look at the stage that we're at. We're just 2 different clubs, right? And we've been through so much, and the amount of
Pav, sorry to stop you. I don't interrupt you. It's the last time I'm going to interrupt. If we have 2 8th-place finishes following this season afterwards, like what Arteta had, she's gone. It's not that bad. You're back. I'll say it's not that bad a question. If we have 2 8th-place finishes following this season, wherever we finish this season, would that be acceptable to say that we're still building? So we finish this season, let's say we finish 5th. Then next season we finish 8th, and then the season after we finish 8th again and don't win anything. Are we saying, we're still building? Because I know what's going to happen. I know what's going to happen.
No, I'm going to say no, right? Especially to 2 seasons in a row then, finishing 8th. The thing is, right, we need to just see some change because we are, like, people are saying, there's no rebuilding under Levy and stuff like that. Like, we are. Let's be realistic. We are. Look at how much dead wood we've got out. Look at the manager. Look at what he's doing. Look how much he's changed our club. Look at the comparison from when we were with Conte to now. Look at the stage, okay? Think about it. Look at what Conte wanted to do. He just wanted to, bish bash, get the trophy, and that's that. Whereas Ange, he's taking his time. He's being realistic. He's changing things up at the club. If we see that and we continue to see that we are trying to fix certain things and we're not just, playing the same way we are season in, season out and not changing anything, then questions would it would have to be us. But that being said, it's not going to happen. We're not going to get 2 seasons in a row. Okay? I don't like this negative energy.
You know, you said that on a YouTube channel. I've done this. I've made that mistake myself. I've made that mistake, Pav, where I've been where you've been. I said we were going to win a Champions League or the league a season after. I said that live, and I've been clipped up ever since. Just saying.
It's tough being Spurs, isn't it?
You know, it's just never the same. But do you know what? I'm in for the roller coaster. That's fine. That's what it's like being a Spurs fan. It's never boring. Okay, whereas all these other clubs, it's boring. Do you know?
It's true.
I think I'd rather be Man City boring though, and pick up a few trophies. I mean it is a difficult situation. I do feel that COVID, as like Daniel was saying in the comments, that COVID was an absolute killer in terms of, and it forced Arsenal to reassess, you know, particularly when they're with 2 8th place finishes. 8th place finishes are not acceptable. Not acceptable. I go back to that old Bill Nick, you know, the great Bill Nick's quote, you know, if we're not in Europe, we're nothing. You know, and we need to be in Europe. It doesn't, you know, at whatever level. So those people that were poo-pooing the Conference League, I was saying, what are you on about? You win a trophy, it gets you into the next trophy up. It gets you into the next competition up. I don't understand why people got you know, so sniffy about it. You know, how are we entitled to be snobby about any competition when we haven't won something for so long? And it's the young fans, the fans of Harry's age, who've not actually.
Harry. He's having a dig. I'm joking.
It's them that I feel sorry for. I've actually seen us win things. I've been to Wembley and seen us lift silver trophies. You know? And it's like, it's, you know, I'll see young people sat next to me at the stadium when I get down there, and I'll say, this is terrible that you've not actually had that day out where not only do you go to the final, you're the last team to leave the stadium. You know what I mean? And you know, there's nothing more. So I might take a name next season if we were to win both domestic cup competitions. Yeah, because then at least we could get that monkey off our back.
Sorry, Sean. I don't mean saying he's your mate, but he's saying you were having a dig there. I didn't say. I'm not having a dig. I genuinely feel sorry for Spurs fans who've not seen us win anything, and it, you know, nothing would give me greater pleasure than seeing us win something next season. I think, you know, we'll be in the shakedown for trophies next season. Right. And I'm going to put it like this. This is just my thoughts on this. Is my final thoughts on this whole thing in terms of the success thing. If next season we finished 8th and we won the Carabao Cup, I'm doing thumbs up. I'm doing backflips. I'm doing everything. If the following season we were to finish 8th and we were to win the FA Cups, I'm doing even more backflips and even more somersaults. Put it into context. For me, it's about silverware. We could finish 16th. It's not going to happen because we're not that low in the quality, but we could realistically, or what's the word I'm looking for? In theory, we could do that. And if we won a cup that year, I am doing everything, but I'm going to troll all them Arsenal fans. I don't care if they say, you're not finishing. I wouldn't give up an F. I wouldn't care. But then if you transfer that back to what you lot have said, if we finish 4th, we finish 3rd, we finish 2nd, and we still don't win a trophy, how's that success? I just don't know.
Yeah.
Yes, it might be that we're in the competition, but are we realistically going to win that competition? No, we don't have the pedigree. We don't have the background. We don't have anything other than 2019 to fall back on from a Champions League perspective. Real Madrid, and I'm looking over there because it's outside. Real Madrid have got 14 of them blows. They've got 14, so they can say, you know what? We don't have to be very good this year, but we know how to win the bloody Champions League. You can't say that. That's what I'm saying. Win the Carabao Cup, even if it means you finish outside of that top 6, 7, 8, 9, I wouldn't be bothered. Because as we can see, football can change in a fucking heartbeat. It can change in 3 games.
Yeah.
We can't take back a Carabao Cup. You can't then say, "Oh, we won it. Let's take it back." You can't do that. It's ours. It's ours to do this. It's ours to cheer every single time the Arsenal go out. It's our we beat, and that's what I want. I fucking want all that shit. Sorry.
Whisper it quietly. 1981, the Ricky Villa final, we finished 11th. I'll say no more.
Say no more. Say no more. That's what I'm trying to say. Nobody remembers that. Who remembers that we finished 11th that year? Only you, Sean, because you now reminded us. But nobody knew that. All we knew was Ricky Villa scored that wonder goal. That's all we remember. The glory of the 81 FA Cup. We have to go back to thinking about football in that sense, not about money. We've been taken on this journey that we need to get top 4 because we need to have the money. Don't need the money. They're one of the richest clubs in the world football. They make as much money as anybody on match day. It ain't about money. It's about profit if you want to look at it from that perspective. Profit is different than making money because a lot of companies make money, but they reinvest it so they don't have the profit. That's how Spurs are slightly different. Now, has that changed? I think it possibly has. Time will tell. But I'm not having 8th and Champions League. Sorry, I'm not having 8th with nothing. If we get that, I would like to see us win something. I don't want to see 2nd, 3rd, or 4th and not win anything in the next 2 years. That's my philosophy. Final thoughts then. Final thoughts starting with, let's start with Sean. I always like to get Sean's thoughts because he's got some thoughts as Sean. He's having a dig. No, I'm not joking. No, sorry.
Can I speak now? Yeah, I mean,
yes, you may.
The title of this is what is success? Success is about winning competitions. We're in 3 every year, possibly 4 if we're very lucky.
Yeah.
But we need to be scooping up those trophies, particularly come end of May, when we're in them. And I think we're now at a place where we need to, as Sam has already alluded, we need to start competing for trophies. We need to be in finals. We need to be regularly appearing in the top 4 or around the top 4. But yeah, it's the cups that I want more than anything else. Next season, as you say, if we were to win the Conference League, which meant that we finished 8th or whatever it means this season, and we won the Conference League, will you not celebrate it?
I'm beers, mate. I'm beers all day. I'm beers and vodka, and then more beers.
Of course, you know what they'll say on social media. Yeah, but if we win that and them not win X, Y, Z.
Different conversation.
There's a different conversation. Yeah, but I want my team to win a trophy. We have to
start somewhere. This is what I think from our Spurs fan base, rightly or wrongly. We've got this, I think you already mentioned it. We've got this grand designs that we're privileged to what. And this is the Pochettino thing. Oh no. And I don't know whether he meant it or whether it was kind of put him by the board. But it's almost like, no, forget the domestic cups. We're going for these big. What entitlement do we have to try to say that we should be going for the Champions League or the Premier League when we've not won either?
Yeah, that's true.
We've not won either. Do you know what I mean? We've not won either. So I can get Arsenal being a little bit peeved off that they haven't won it because they've won it. They haven't won the Champions League, but they're in the same boat as us. But again, more pedigree potentially. So they should have more of an aggrievement. But we can't be so, oh my God, dismiss that. Oh, it's only the Carabao Cup. Fucking hell. Only the Carabao Cup. Pav, final thoughts.
I mean, you lot have pretty much summed it up. We need to win a trophy. Like you lot said, Sam, when you said, if we win a trophy and we finish 8th, I'm taking it all day. Like, we just need silverware now. But we need to just keep on pushing and stuff. And the silly little mistakes that we're making, we need to fix it up. And I think, do you know what? We've got to have belief in the manager. I think Ange is definitely working on it. And we have to bear in mind that he's only just come in. This is his first season. We've got to be patient. There are some fans out here that are just like, calling him to be sacked and stuff. And I'm like, no,
Crazy.
like, come on, right? Just give the guy a chance. Like, he needs time, right? And we've seen a massive difference since last season to now. And I reckon next season we will be in the chance of, you know, getting these trophies and stuff. I'm not saying we're gonna, but I think we are going to have that opportunity. And I think if we don't next season and we finish like what, top 4 or, you know, below that, then we're going to have to look at it and we're going to think, well, what do we do next? Because we're not doing anything, we're not winning anything. Like you said to me before, what success is bringing in trophies as well. Like we need the trophies, that's the whole point. We want the trophies. It's been so long and it's our time now. We're seeing other clubs getting it and stuff, but what are they doing and what are we not doing? And it's a complete cycle. But we just have to be patient. We need to have that patience for Ange, and people need to stop getting into their heads and saying, oh, you know, get him sacked, or, you know, Son's not good enough, blah blah's not good enough, or whatever. But it's like, just have patience, have that time now. Our time this season is just to make top 4. That's it. Like that's what we can do, and we can call it a good season because we're not getting anything else. Call it a good season, get the top 4, then bam, like we've done well for this season. Bearing in mind, it's Ange's first season here. Next season, then we need to push on further to start getting these trophies. But we've just got to keep pushing. And like we've said in previous podcasts as well, with the way that we're playing, something definitely needs to change. We are playing good football. I'm not going to sit and say we're not, but definitely needs to change with how we're playing for the whole 90 minutes. Why is it changing one half and then changing another half? Do you know what I mean? So there are a lot of things that we need to work on, but that being said, I'm not going to sit here and say we haven't done well, because we have. Compared to last season, we're doing well, so we've just got to keep pushing.
Yeah, football's about, there is luck in football, but again, looking at, you know, all the factors that bring you success, there's a lot of factors, and it's not just as cut and dry as what I've tried to make out. We just need to win this. Yes, we faced Manchester City in the FA Cup, probably the eventual winners of that trophy. Had we got through there, maybes. There's so many if, buts, or maybes. What I'd rather see us is prioritise that game. Now, are we realistically going to win the Premier League? No. Fanciful to think that we could? Yes, of course. Are we, if we're in the Champions League, likely to win that? Probably not. More likely not. So if you had a choice of, let's say on the Wednesday, to play a Porto in the Champions League, but then the following Saturday you're playing an FA Cup game against, let's just say, a Bournemouth. Bournemouth is my priority. The reason being, I reckon if I get through Bournemouth, the likelihood is I'm likely to get closer to winning an FA Cup than even if I get past Porto into the next round. I've still got the round of 16, the round of 8, the quarterfinals, the semi-finals. In the Champions League, which I'm been the final once, I don't have any pedigree. Prioritize. That's what I'm saying. What competitions are we more likely to win? The success that you get from winning that one cup could lead to a success in something else, which could be the bigger picture thing that I'm talking about. Ari, final thoughts from yourself, sir.
Yeah, to be honest with you, there's not much to say. I agree with everything that's kind of been said. We want to see trophies, and what I don't get from some fans, and Pav's kind of touched on this, you know, why are fans sitting here, you know, already saying let's get Ange out, and people going, load of things that people come out with this week for me has been absolutely bonkers. From why haven't we won a trophy in Ange's first season? Of course, I'm frustrated that we didn't treat the Carabao Cup seriously. And I think we learnt from that with a stronger team, for example, against City. Don't think the timing was in our favour. But again, as you say earlier, luck is a large part of it. Next season, yes, realistically, we should be aiming for trophies. This year, for me, it's to get into Champions, get to Europe, ideally Champions League. I think that's still realistic, despite a defeat to Wolves. And then we push on, as Pav says again, from next season. I'd love in Ange's first season us to win the Carabao Cup, win the FA Cup. We have to be realistic. For me, we all wanted this rebuild. We've gone for a complete transformation where we see so many players come in and out of this club, a complete change of style. I personally think we're seeing change from the bottom and top of the club all the way down, and that is going to take time realistically. And you know, one defeat and fans are up in arms. So a little bit of patience is definitely needed. That's for sure. I'm not going to lie. Against Wolves, I'm absolutely fuming that we've lost the game, and obviously someone being there, I'm like, it seems so simple. We just didn't move the ball quick enough, and we did like playing inverted fullbacks. So the second goal, Davis is too high. Just the basic stuff where we lost the game. It really hurts. But at the same time, I came away from it and thought, we're still in the top 4 battle. I didn't think we'd be in that battle when we lost Harry Kane ultimately. So for me, we're still punching above our weight, and I see fans telling me that Ange needs to go. And honestly, I try not to even give it the time. But yeah, patience is needed. Next season, I think, is exciting.
Yeah, it's absolutely wild when people start coming out of that. Everybody can be a critique. Everybody can have their view. But to start talking about Ange out when he's not even got to bloody March, and he started in I just don't get it. I don't get it. I know people can have reactions, but that doesn't make sense. There's no rationality behind it anyway. As with all good things, it comes to an end. But I do hope, Mr. Scarf, that you'll be back on. It's been a pleasure having you on here. I know if you wanted to come on there before, you're welcome back anytime you want. We'll obviously go through Pav and make sure. But bloody hell, it's been a good show. I like that. Sean, look like Sean. Ready to... Hey? Mute, Sean.
You're muted.
See, old age, right? You got too many things to do. You know, I can remember what day it is and what my name is, and then you ask me to make a comment. I forget my name. What's my name? So yeah,
sure.
no, it's great to have Harry on. He is the future. I just would like for him to see us pick up a shiny trophy next season. It would be nice. It would be nice. Yeah.
Harry's the future, people. Harry's the future. Remember,
Harry's the future. Yeah.
Yes.
He's the future.
Very kind.
We need to get you on again. Get Darius.
That'd be great.
On. He's another one. He's in his 20s and he's talking about, so we need to get the youngsters on, and more so the females. That's why it's always good to have Pav on here. It just brightens up the show. I hope I brightened up the day. I show a little bit of chest here. That's for Donna. That was for Donna.
Get it up.
And that's enough of that. That's enough of that. Sean, thank you. Pav, thank you. Harry, special thanks to you. Last comment here. Minerals FC, Ange has implemented his style at least. Great way to end. A great way to end. Because he has. Yeah. And we know what our style is. And we know game to game what we're going to expect. Now we need the results and the success to come with that. Daniel, it's all right, Harry, mate. In 10 years, you will be depressed like the rest of us. I don't even think it would take 10 years. I don't even think it would take 10 years, mate. It won't take 10.
No, it won't.
Yeah, but he'll be saying, I remember being told I'll be depressed in 10 years, and look at these trophies we've won in that time.
For those asking for Twitter handles, I believe that those are the Twitter handles for people if you want. Sean, what's yours? People might want to know.
Oh, God.
He wants this lot.
It's a long thing.
Just put my name in Twitter and you'll find me.
There's Harry's. Harry's got
That's mine.
Too. Mine's is right up there, as you can see, at Sam Spurs for Life, _Spurs for Life, as in all that spelling. Pav, what's yours? If you want to tell people.
Mine's Pav, JOU.
There you go. Pav, JOU, like that. I'll just put Harry's up there one more time so people say, you know what I mean? Because you know what I mean. We don't want this younger generation to stay with us.
Yeah.
When Sean's digging into them, we don't like that. Am I joking again?
Oh, Sean.
I know. It's funny, isn't it? That's it. Thanks, Harry. Thank you, Pam.
Thank you very much.
And again, thank you very much to the one and only Sean Hull. And we will be doing what we're going to do before the next game. We must be able to do something. We'll do something. Maybe another talking point. Maybe another preview show for that game. Blah, 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 blah. But as I said, you're welcome back anytime, Mr. Scarf. That is it. I'm now going to try and find the music because of the professional that I am. I've already got it all set up, but I haven't. But I'm going to find it anyway. It's TP time countdown. It's here. I just always do that with the Sid because Sid puts them in different bloody orders. Oh, it's this one. Here we go. All right, then. Come on, Spurs. Thank you very much.
Spurs.
Like, subscribe, comment, share.
Develop,